Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to what is today going to be the review of Phantom Chronomancer. Now, I've waited a couple weeks expecting a buff. We haven't had it yet, so it's probably going to come out after I've done this video, and if that does happen, we'll just do another review. But anyway, as it stands at the minute, we've given this one a rank A with soloing at an A, support at a B, PvP at a B, and farming at a C. It goes without saying, if you are going to run certain forge enhancements on this, it is easily a top tier class, but that's just the way it goes. For the start of the video, we will be looking at the base class, which is just going to be full wizard, and then we'll be putting those forge enhancements on in a moment's time. Ignore the lag in the background, we've just put on the animations for the first few seconds of the video because I know some people like to see how they're looking, and as you can see, it makes everything incredibly choppy, so let us turn those off. Now, there is just proof that we're just going full wizard for the moment, and let us begin with seeing how this one performs. The combo I use is on screen now, and you want to make sure you're starting with that skill 4 because it applies a load of dodge, and this is a dodge class, so for those of you who don't know, this is a dodging chrono. It is really good at it, to be fair. However, there is a few small issues I have found while using this, and it could all be me problems. There is a small changeover period when you're going through your combo where your dodge essentially runs out. I mean, it doesn't run properly out, but it's not going to be as effective as it is for the majority of the battle, which does cause some issues with survivability. Potentially, if you're going along to Icewing, you may just randomly still get nuked there, although the majority of times you should be okay to go along and use it. The DPS is slightly lower with this class compared to other chronos, but I guess that's because as it's a dodge, maybe they didn't want it to be super DPS heavy to kind of counteract that. That's the only thing I can really think for a reason why. And then also, you will notice that your mana consumption is very heavy and it doesn't regen overly well, especially if you're running just the base class. However, forge enhancements change that significantly. Not only can you start nuking your 500,000 plus crits that you're probably used to, your mana consumption will not be quite as bad. It is still not great and you still can run into difficulty, but if you're just going through the skills at a casual speed, you should be okay. We're using Ravenous, Lament, and Examine, and that is a pretty good combination. I still personally wouldn't be using this as my go-to solo or DPSer, but you know, it's not all that bad if you are looking for something with that dodge effect with it. However, when we say things like that, you do also have classes like Yami that you are able to get for free and also can increase that dodge to literally 100% of the entire fight. So, you know, there are other options out there. It is worth noting at this point that Phantom Chrono hasn't had any class changes yet, which is really strange for a new class. They always have something that is tweaked, buffed, even nerfed over time, and that usually comes within the first month of it being out. So it's been around that kind of time bracket now. So realistically, if you're not seeing a buff over the next week or two, maybe this is just the way it's going to be. One of the good things with this class is that it is nice and straightforward to use. The combo is not difficult to learn, plus there's only really one playstyle you're going to be using with this class. Before we move on to looking at ultras, we are just quickly going to hop over to Icewing so we can show you that yes, of course, it can solo these ones if you would like it to. Starting with 4, you'll get that dodge going, which should keep you alive for at least the first set skill rotation. However, don't forget, there is that small time period where you're not really going to have that dodge effect, so you want to try and make sure you are not skill spamming, but you're getting through that cycle as quickly as you can so you can get your next 4 in, granting you your dodge increase. We did have pots on during this battle. That's just because I wanted to get through it as quick as humanly possible. And to be fair, if you're also here just sat in a room soloing Icewing, you'll probably want to do the exact same thing. Ultras, you can take it along as sort of a mini support along with the DPS type class. Not sure it would be taking out any slots in my current compositions, but it is an option if you really wanted to give it a go. The DPS is inevitably lower, as we've already discussed in the video, so I'd probably just stick with something like Quantum that is tried and tested. But like I say, it does seem to work in the vast majority of Ultras, so you know, it could be worth a go if you just wanted to change something up and try something new. But I'm not sure I would personally be doing that, and I'd just be keeping it the way it always has been with a lot of these battles. Over into PvP, as long as you're hitting a 4 first, you will be getting all of those dodges coming in. So that does start off quite well, and you will manage to beat some classes in game. Inevitably though, you will come into the same sort of problems as you often do in PvP. If you come up against another PvP class, you'll probably get outmatched because they'll probably out DPS you. There is a world in which you could probably just keep cycling that 4 without any temporal rifts, but you can keep getting the dodge, and maybe this could be like an ultimate dodge PvP class. but I just haven't really managed to get that work with any form of damage yet. So watch the space, who knows, maybe there's a way in which that could work out. Phantom is not a farming class, but due to the range on its 2 and 3, you could just stand in a room spamming 2 and 3, not using any mana and defeating a load of monsters, but it's probably not ideal. On screen in the background is going to be the class skills. We'll go through them in order of 1 to 5, so if you are someone that would like some actual in-depth knowledge on everything that they do, then just give the screen a pause as we flick through them. I'm not going to go over in major depth into these because we have covered it in previous videos, so we'll just let it skimmer through for anyone that could be interested. Overall though guys, Phantom Chrono is something slightly different to the norm, and as we said, it is a solo dodge class. It does sustain dodge pretty well, but there is that gap in between that just means that you potentially could be getting nuked if you're not nailing the combo or your luck just isn't with you at the time. Personally, it's not really going to be one of my go-to chronos, but I think if they do choose to buff this, sort out the mana issue, maybe even add some extra damage to it, it could become a really good option. For me, the biggest problem with this class at the minute is just the mana consumption when you're using 4, which is pretty reliant in the combo that we were using in the video. If you are for now at a crossroads of deciding what chrono you want to buy next for 6k ACs over at Hero Mart, or you want to buy the calendar itself, unless you're going for the art and a calendar on your door like I do with it every year, you may want to hold off just for now to wait and see if any changes are coming its way. But until next time folks, have a lovely day and I'll see you all again incredibly soon.